For those on Zoom, sorry about that. We just had a motion from Herzberg to approve our agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it is time for the swearing in of those elected in November.
Okay. And you would like everybody to be behind the chairs, correct? At this time, would Melissa, Chuck, Jacob, and Lyle, would you please come forward? I'm going to read to you. At this time, we're going to be doing the oath of office, State of Iowa oath of office for your positions. And this will be for the, yes, be raising your hand as this. And this will be for the position of supervisor for Jacob Holmes, supervisor for Chuck Morris, sheriff for Lyle Palmer, and auditor for Melissa Waldhausen. Now, if each one of you would state your name and then repeat after me.
Jacob Holmes, Chuck Morris, Lyle Palmer,
Melissa Waldhausen.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Iowa,
of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
of the office in Page County
of the office of Page County,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Okay, you may relax your hands, and at this time, I'd like you to sign the official papers with your date, and I think we're good. Is that all we need to do? That was easy, yeah. And your certificates are here. 29th. That's for you to keep and post. Congratulations, all of you. Okay. John, did you want to do that?
No.
Okay.
Job well done.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Alan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, on a snowy Tuesday, it is time for the engineers update. Probably a lot to talk about as far as snow operating. No, not really? Pardon me? Oh, does anybody need an agenda? Does everybody have one? Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Good morning, JD.
Good morning. Can you hear me with this?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
This was sent out yesterday afternoon. Monday, the blades were out, last two. I had one truck hauling rock. There's no rock at Braddyville, although the stripping crew is in. We were mowing with two mowers yesterday, the boom mower and the side mower on the gravels. The district operators are running those. Troy out of the Northeast was working his gravels. He's done. We're gonna go south of Clarinda next with the side mower. Of course, the snow may change that plan. Had a cold patch crew running. The shear crew was not running the machinery. They were doing some tweaking, improving of the snow fences that we have out. And of course, yesterday, the winter storm was forecast. Indeed, this morning about 5, it showed up. We did not send the trucks out early. We sent them out at normal time in anticipation of being able to work later this afternoon and evening, and perhaps, depending on which forecast you're listening to, the storm may have passed by 6 o'clock, but that's forecast dependent. So we're going to take a round now on the pavements when there's enough snow to push, and we'll just kind of wait to see. Right now it's scheduled to snow more rapidly from 12 to 4 this afternoon, and so we'll have enough time to make another pass after that. That's the plan. They'll always change. I had some work on number 3 motor grader in the shop. Pickup 17 is back from the shop, got a torque converter installed on it, and parts are in for 26, which is the truck tractor. Pulling a belly up. Engineer work is like normal, still working on the EWP. Last week, indeed, on Tuesday, we did place grout on site number 10, and on Wednesday and yesterday, they were working on the slopes. They finished placing the rock last week, so they're doing cleanup work on number 4. There's no work done on number 8. Recently, they just need to rip up the field, you know, to reduce compaction. That's all that's remaining, but we have not, they're earning no dollars this last 2 weeks. We sent in the reimbursement last week. There's another round of EWP vouchers or claims in this claim period. I spoke with the treasurer this morning, give her a heads up what's coming. We also have on G Avenue, north of Norwich, is bridge T13, the 3-ton weight limited right now. Contractor has equipment on site, and I anticipate his crew coming back on the 4th of January, and the road will be closed then, starting next week. Take a month and a half, weather dependent. He'll pound the piling at the piers and do welding, and the county forces will remove and replace the steel deck. In some good news from the project development side, the DNR sent us a floodplain permit for the Essex North Bridge. So that's good. So I have both the Corps of Engineer permit and the DNR floodplain permit for that project. The turnaround on the DNR permit was about 4 months, which is decent compared to sometimes. My next item of work is the county budget and program. Questions for me?
I'm trying to think. Oh, I just wanted to say I enjoyed helping at with your workers the other day, and I was interested to hear about the snow fence. They said they've got it figured out that they can putting it out and bringing it back in about a third of the time that it used to take them. So
At least the retrieving of it anyway.
yeah, the retrieving of it,
You know,
yes,
that
yes,
Better
yes.
Mousetrap award
Yeah.
we won last.
Yeah, but he said taking it out, he said they've got that figured out a lot better too. So.
And we didn't use snow fence before. This is, so this is another incremental improvement. I did note to the foreman this morning that when I first got here, we had 4 tandems and the rest of our trucks were single axles. So they carried less material with them, so they'd have to come back to reload more often. Now we have 9 tandems. All the trucks in regular service, or all the trucks with a route are tandems, and 7 of the 9 have wings. So we are a more capable force in the wintertime. Likewise, we're buying all-wheel drive motor graders. And while we haven't, replaced all of them in the fleet, we are continuing to upgrade that, which also makes us more capable in the wintertime for plowing snow, and is a benefit when we ditch during the summertime.
A lot safer too. They pull straight.
Oh, okay.
It's the men like it.
Okay.
I remember when I first started, some of them, when you had ice, it just pushes sideways right towards the ditch.
Really?
Because them front wheels won't fall. So it helps, just like a four-wheel drive vehicle.
Okay, sure. Any questions, other questions, John, or comment? So,
Murray Road's doing a good job.
Thank you, all of the guys.
yeah, thanks for, I know Alan helped you serve, but, people are wondering, during the COVID pandemic, you guys did a great job separating tables and separating people and keeping them safe.
And it was
still
good,
able to-
a good food too, and we had some.
Oh, my goodness, did you ever?
So that's great.
Okay, thank you.
I think I went 4 years ago and there were a lot of deviled eggs there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I always liked them.
Well, we were ahead of schedule, so, why don't we take a short recess? You have to get also over there.
No, we don't have any more. I sent you and Jacob on that letter that I got from Amy and Greg Connell
Oh.
about.
Yeah, I sent it to Jacob.
Yeah, I sent it to Jake also. So we need to probably put that on the agenda next week for our letter of support.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think we write one and all three sign it.
Yeah. We'll ask him what works best for him, but,
Yeah. And if you don't have a problem, he's a pretty good letter writer. So, and then if that's okay with Amy and Greg, I think it is. I sent a note to John, McCurdy, but I think it's okay.
Okay.
So,
Is this money they're getting from?
yeah, these are dollars that they're receiving from SWIPCO was able to pull in a big chunk of money for all the counties in their district. And it looks like, was it around, I can't remember the original, was it 20,000, I think, 20 or 30,000 for the county that they would use to, and maybe even 40. They're going to use it for small businesses that need help in building, and they'll be able to apply for it from within Clarendon and Shenandoah. And I was just tickled pink that both people were working on that together. That was really reassuring. So,
yeah,
So where are they gonna take action?
don't know.
no, they first have to, we do our letter, they turn all their stuff into the SWIPCO, and then SWIPCO gives them the money and approves it as they need to. So there's really no dollars there yet. And there's no,
Go through the auditor's office or go through them?
No, I think.
it goes through SWIPCO to the cities.
Yeah.
We just are
Through
supporting.
economic development.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't gonna-
No, they will disperse it. We don't have to do anything.
We don't.
We're just supporting it.
SWIPCO,
Yes, SWIPCO will do it all.
Cities, yeah,
Yeah,
as I understand.
yes.
because my daughter has a routine.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
She hadn't been able to get any CARES money.
Well, this is what this is designed.
She'll be able
for.
to. Yeah.
I think my worst week,
Alan, we'll call
Yeah.
Amy McQueen or.
Yeah.
Or Greg, because I don't think the program's detailed yet. I think they're still working on how
Yeah,
they're gonna
it stinks.
take applications and what the time frame is. But, and I don't know if they're collecting a list
Like some of these chains.
of people who might be interested, so they can keep them
Yeah.
in the loop with these dates
Yeah.
and that, I don't know.
Well,
We'll call Amy and ask her.
from what I can see in my experience, the people are just not ready to difference of page, one side of page to the other. And this side of the county, people are going in and,
How much time between?
Before your next one.
Well, it's scheduled at 9 o'clock, we're 14 minutes away.
Mr. Chairman, would you mind if I talk about what the National Weather Service says is gonna happen today with the weather?
No, please do,
sure,
please do.
sure.
So we get an update from the National Weather Service, Chris gets one too, so dispatch is aware of it. It looks like today, we're gonna have some snow, freezing rain before 10 o'clock, and then snow between 10 and noon. Snow and sleet after noon, so that's when we're gonna get hit. I think JD hit on that a little bit. We're looking at a high near 31 today. Southeast breeze at about 10 to 18, so this light fluffy snow we've been getting is gonna go all over heck and back. It could gust as high as 28. That's gonna get a little dicey out there. And since this is probably gonna hit the radio, I want everybody to be careful out there on the roads. Chris and I were just talking, if you saw us over there, we currently have an accident. Thank goodness it's in Fremont County right now. We don't know the injuries. It's south of on Highway 59, south of Shenandoah, just south of the 220th intersection. Page County stops at about 215 where that road curves, if you're familiar with that road. The county line would then go straight south to 220th and then cuts back east. We're on the north, Fremont County's on the south of that, and we go to Page Fremont. So it is getting bad out there coming across and around this morning. If you noticed on your drive in that we have some seriously dicey roads, and they're only going to get worse with what I'm going to read next. So basically we talked about the winds. Chance of precipitation, of course, is 100%. Little or no ice accumulation expected in the daytime. Total daytime snow and sleet accumulation of 4 to 8 inches. Now tonight, snow, freezing rain, and sleet before 11 p.m. Rain likely between 11 and midnight, with a low around 23. So you throw what we're going to do is plow, and JD's crew and the whole secondary roads have got a challenge as well as the DOT here. You throw that on top of the plowed road, and you're going to have a slick condition. So everybody be careful, whether it's the general public or everybody in this room tonight, if you have to be out, or today at all, because those roads are going to be icy. We get some things called black ice. Maybe the road just looks wet. Maybe the temperature will come up above 31, start to melt it off, and it'll be wet, and then all of a sudden we refreeze and it's a flash freeze, and you're driving on ice that looks wet. So be careful out there. After that, it doesn't look so bad. Tomorrow it's going to come out, sun's going to come out a little bit. I don't know how much melting we're going to get. We're still going to have some wind. Looks like we're good until Friday. Friday, it could be a little bit dicey again. We're looking at some sleet. They're going to low around 10 degrees. Now, if you can remember what Friday is, that unfortunately, or fortunately, is the new year. Everybody be careful. That's a reminder, if you're going to go out, be careful, because you start getting temperatures around 10 degrees. If you've been consuming alcohol, you know, it's nice, they used to say it's nice to take a shot if you're cold and you come in. What that does is that makes your blood thinner, and you're going to get colder quick, and you can't freeze. So everybody be careful if you're out there. Just kind of take care. Since we had a little time, I thought I'd talk about that a little bit. That's one of the most important things, is be careful. We want to get you through the new year.
Thank you, appreciate it, Lyle. You guys be
Thanks.
careful.
Yes.
JD, your men be careful.
Yeah.
The DOT, I saw yesterday, was putting out brine on the major highways. Did we, on our secondary roads, have we figured out brine yet, JD? Have we figured out the brine? I know we've played with, or not played with, we've experimented with some various thoughts.
We have not, I would note that the city put down brine yesterday, and DOT put down brine on 71 yesterday morning. my guys travel those roads. The 71 in particular, could see no difference this morning.
Okay.
And we haven't made significant progress towards, being able to work with Ron.
Okay. Okay, thank you. There's, thank you, Corey, put up the snow pattern. Kind of I think it's a live radar, right, Corey? So on that topic, you know, as we get ready to change the guard and move into the new year too, we have a list of county offices and employees in case weather does impact operations of the courthouse. Can I ask the auditor to update that or have us work on that list, on the snow list, so that when we
Yeah.
have operations
Yeah.
impacted, and then include Jacob on that, and make sure that we keep our people safe when the weather becomes treacherous, like it sounds like it could this afternoon. But if the auditor's office needs some help with that, let us know. But the one we have now is grossly outdated. So.
If there's a bad snowstorm on Monday night, the postpone meeting.
Well,
Yeah, it kind of, with Zoom now, we may look at that.
right. Yeah, I think, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in my 3 years, I don't think we've ever missed a meeting
For weather.
for weather. This was the worst I've ever seen in my 3 years plus on a Tuesday. But I think that's something that the three of us will discuss with Melissa, how we want to handle it. If the courthouse is going to be closed, then we would decide if we're going to Zoom it or how we're going to do it. So, which might be impossible to do without Corey here, so I don't know.
Be tougher.
Yeah.
Be tougher, but typically the request is, you know, do we open late, close early, close at all, keep people off the roads? But hopefully this is a one shot of winter. We won't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Can you work on that, JD?
No, not like
And just to answer the earlier question, I found the email from John McCurdy. It's 20,000 total for Page County, and then it'll be up to the two cities to decide how they want to coordinate that.
Also, while we have just a moment, Chris is here. Chris, were you involved in the immunizations yesterday?
Yes.
Do you want to give us a brief report on how that's going? The hospitals and the counties had their immunizations that began last week, or the hospitals last week, and then we began yesterday, correct?
Yes, Page County Public Health received their 600 doses of the Moderna vaccine. I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday of last week. They gave 200 to each hospital, 2 to Shannon, 2 to Clarinda, so the county's public health itself had 200 for it to distribute to home health care providers, school nurses, anybody in the healthcare field that deals with the public that might be out and about, was available for this first round of vaccines. The public health started giving theirs yesterday morning, and there was a steady stream coming in and out of the office. I think they had 70 doses that they pulled out yesterday, so I believe they've distributed all 70 of those. And they have another round scheduled for today, so I'm assuming they'll do another 70, so there'll be 140 of the 200 already done in the first 2 days.
That's great. Well, I talked with Jess yesterday, and she wasn't sure if she was going to be available. I see she's on the line. Jess, if you have anything else you'd like to add, she did update. We did 91 yesterday.
Wow.
She said.
Yep. Good.
So that is great. Any operational impact with today's weather for what you had planned, Jess?
Yeah, so we're working on that. We're trying to get people moved up on the list to make it in here hopefully before the ice and stuff hits, if that hits this afternoon. So, but yesterday we did 91. Today we have another 30 on the schedule, and then we're doing another clinic on Monday the 4th. And it went really, really well yesterday. It was very just steady flow, smooth, no complaints, no reactions. everything was great.
Good. So, and again, as a reminder, this is for your healthcare workers on this round, and that's what your focus is on, correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
One thing we did learn yesterday at our sessions was that we need to have better signage at our annex building. A lot of people didn't know where to go or where it was, didn't know what store to go in, where to park, stuff like that. So Tom did take some of the pod signs we had and put those out in the yard so people could at least see that the vaccines were there.
Okay.
And we did discuss with Melissa about putting Page County access or annex on the side of the building, get some signage and stuff so that people will be more aware of where that building is.
Oh, good idea. Well, I still think we ought to put John Herzberg signs out there, personal opinion. Tom, I know you helped. Thank you for your assistance with all that. So, way to go. Let's get everybody vaccinated.
We'll get her done.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jess.
Probably need to do that.
Yep,
89%.
yep. So we'll work on that list, try to get it
Yeah.
updated. All right, a couple more minutes and we'll go back into our agenda. Anything else you want to add? John, any stories you want to tell in 3 minutes?
No.
That was a nice letter from Kip Shanks,
What do you have to say?
just talking about the, appreciate your service this past year.
Oh,
Yeah.
he did?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
All righty, well, it's 10 seconds shy of 9 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and start. Our next agenda item is the discuss CARES Act funding and the amendments. And Melissa, if you'd lead our discussion, I'd appreciate it. Pardon me? Oh, yeah, well, we'll
I-
come out of recess.
Yes, at this time, make a motion, come out of recess.
Second?
Second.
All right, we're out of recess. All in favor, say aye. Okay, Melissa, let's talk about the amendment to the CARES Act funding, please.
Sorry about that. So this initial amendment, we had a few people or a few departments that came forward basically just with some different expenses. We will do another amendment just because I think right now there's still a lot of departments that are uncertain as to how things will turn out. So right now we just had the sheriff, public health, IT, and elections in here. We will also, there's been an ongoing situation with mental health where from years ago when there was a case outstanding that was disputed. Remember that, John?
Yeah, I do.
And so, what?
It was shocking.
Yeah, and so they have came back and it started at a significant amount and it's down to 13,000 now. But they're gonna start withholding all Medicaid funds now if we don't make a payment on that. So I have reached out to Susan Watson, because basically when we transitioned case management and our mental health, all of our mental health funding, we rolled all of that into different funds then. So all of our balances transferred to the region then when we did that. So she is going to put before her board to allow us to use regional money to repay that, because it does impact them and as well us. So I'm waiting to hear back for that, but she has asked that we go ahead and set up in the amendment for that. So she felt like her board would be, and I think they meet January 4th, so they'll discuss that and then she'll let me know. But we've pulled a lot of stuff from Solutions and some different reports, and then as well reached out to DHS and some other places to try to track down what transpired. Unfortunately, a lot of the individuals that were involved in that are no longer with the county and no longer here on Earth. So it was a little hard to, try to remember some of that stuff from years ago. So, but that's kind of the bulk of it on that. As for the CARES funding, I think, different departments, we have currently put all of the CARES money as it came in into 99. And so I don't know if you guys want to talk about what your plans are or how you plan to reallocate that out.
And on that topic, in our compensation board meeting, after our comp board meeting, one of the public servants who served on that committee suggested that, that board, number one, came back with a recommendation that the county raise employee salaries by 4%. And the individual on the compensation board suggested that maybe this board consider utilizing CARE funds this year to fund that particular raise. But that's something we'll need to sit and look at and discuss. Obviously, that's one option. I know there are some needs. The CARES funding, just in quick summary, our sheriff's department, our EMA department did collect, because of the overtime hours, a significant part of what we attained as a county, $192,000+. However, and all departments had some claims, I think, but the significant ones were from sheriff and EMA. I believe I'm correct in saying that. Those funds were the easiest to access from the federal government through using their rules. But the reality is many of the hours that were spent in service during COVID had already been budgeted. So that's in large part why we went into a 99 and not, this board did not go dollar for dollar by the department versus their claims. Because at the time that program started, a couple of things. Number one, we didn't know how long we were going to be impacted in our operations and additional expenses because of the pandemic. And as we're finding out, the pandemic is not over. We're still having expenses crop up that we didn't anticipate. Fit tests are an example of that. So anyway, no decision has really been made. So this board, when we get into budgets, will tackle the dissemination of those fees or those funds. And is there anything you'd like to add, Alan? No. Okay, John? Is there anything, Melissa, that, in summary was left out of that should have been included? Okay. All right. So, thank you for the update. And, here again, I do want Sheriff, Public Health, who else has, submitted their amendments? Did you say? IT and elections, okay. So is it safe to assume that those are gonna be the only amendments that we expect to get? Or are we just behind on submission? Are these four departments, the only amendment requests that we should expect as we try to, you know, prepare for the new budget? Or are there other departments that you're still waiting on?
No.
Okay.
These are the only ones that we
Okay.
have.
Okay.
And a lot of these are for not like regarding CARES funding or anything. They're for separate, circumstances or different items. You know, some of them are COVID related, but others would be just due to other routine things that have happened during the fiscal year. So, and that's why I say I do anticipate that we'll do another amendment, just because I think as of right now, there's still a lot of uncertainty for different departments and how, you know, where they're going to end up or additional overtime or those types of things.
Okay. All right. And then speaking of that, when do you anticipate we'll have a budget calendar? Or can you remind us of what the requests have been in terms of gathering budgets as we begin that process? Oh, do we have a calendar for budget submissions by department yet? I mean, into your office, so that we can, as a board, start tackling budgets here in the next
So
week?
all budgets are due, I guess, for tomorrow.
For tomorrow?
So I've gotten a few back, but I haven't gotten everyone's back, so. I'm sorry, I'm off a day. It's Thursday.
Thursday.
Yes,
Last
it's
day.
Thursday. In my brain, it's the 30th already. So, yes, Thursday, sorry. I've been off a day all week, so. But yeah, so then once those come through, and then if you guys want to let me know of days that work to meet in January, we can start getting some of those on the calendar. Or if there's specific days that don't work for the 3 board members.
Be ready to go fast and furious.
Okay.
The first day you are.
Yeah, well,
I'd like to do long days if we can.
yeah, I prefer doing
Yeah,
long days.
yeah.
And I don't know what your situation is. Okay.
One day.
Well, just rather than do 3 half days, would you prefer to do a full day or 2? Okay.
Yeah.
So, the only unknown I have next week is I've got some medical appointments that are pending that I'm trying to pin down, so I can't give you a date.
Yeah, I have nothing.
All right, well, we'll kind of try to work on a calendar of free dates so we can really get after it and spend the amount of time that everybody wants and needs to go through it. Appreciate the department heads having that stuff in so we can tackle it. I think, it just helps us if we can get started early. It gives us plenty of time. Okay?
We just do that up here.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do it up here, I think.
What we'll probably do is set up what we try to do it where Zoom can,
Yeah, we'll have to try to we'll probably need Melissa, eye contact, because she's such an important part of that discussion. And then for the budget department,
have,
speeches from the department heads having a way to communicate eyeball to eyeball. So, okay, yeah, so we'll have to give some thought to reconfiguring this room a little bit. Maybe it's as simple as just bringing a table here and a table here.
and moving the owl down to the end and showing this way.
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll let Corey design that. Yeah.
Or your challenge for
Yeah.
the day. All right. Well, we're still a little bit, we're gonna try, it's hard when you estimate these agendas, knowing what anything's gonna take in terms of time. So we estimate, and, we're gonna try to abide by the agenda because we have Zoom capability and interest and respect for time of those who wish to join us for a particular item. We want to try to stay to that public schedule. So we're going to wait a few more minutes before we go to 9:15. Nice card from David Young, if anybody wants to see it.
David?
Yep, David.
I think I got one of those,
Did you?
but I got it as private. I didn't get one as supervisor. Yeah. Very nice card.
And then, just a point of, something I wanted to point out, on the agenda, it says 9:30, John Hersberg's retirement farewell. Actually, the request to department heads went out as a 10 o'clock start time. Oh, I got you. Okay, good. Gotcha. Speech.
No.
Yeah, John has to have a speech.
John, what's the biggest difference when you started till now?
What's that?
What's the biggest difference from when you started till now?
It's gotten a lot more complicated. I mean, we've got more decisions to make. When we first started, it didn't seem like it was that involved. And it's probably increased, I'd say close to 15 hours a week more that I've done in than when I first started.
Really?
The workload just keeps increasing.
Technology is supposed to make things easier, but it seems like it's getting harder.
I think that's the problem. They see more, they ask more questions, they require us to do a lot more discussion of things.
Yeah, I don't think technology is simplified. I think we're all tied to our technology and can't get away from it. But,
when we first started, it was very rare we even had the press or anybody in the boardroom. It was just the auditor and 3 supervisors.
really,
Yeah. So people have got a lot more involved.
which is good.
Yeah. More transparent. So.
Who would have thought a year ago we'd be doing Zoom meetings, that they're accessible? You know, really.
I think the laptops are going to help a lot.
Yeah, it will. Not quite. Oh, by that clock, it's 9:15. Okay, we'll go by that clock. I like that. I'd like to go have a motion, get out of recess, please.
I'll make a motion to exit recess.
Second that motion.
All right. At our meeting last week, we had a crowd here, included, talking about the media. Margaret Stoldorf was here, representing KCSI. And after the meeting, Margaret and I were visiting, and she said, you know, why don't you guys do the Pledge of Allegiance? And I said, never really thought about it. She pointed out we have the flags here and noted that in other counties, Montgomery County is an example, they begin their meetings. I believe the Clarinda City Council begins their meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm not sure about
Shenandoah does,
Shenandoah
yeah,
does.
yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things that I've been coming to this board, for a number of years as a reporter, then as a supervisor, and we've never done it. And it's just kind of part of what we do, of what we don't do. So what you're thinking about the Pledge of Allegiance and incorporating that into our meeting, I personally think it's a great idea.
I'd be 100% behind it.
Okay. Do you think that's appropriate, John, as you get ready to exit?
Well, I think it is. I always listen to Montgomery County's board, you know, on the radio. I know they voice it.
Okay. Well, I'd entertain a motion for us to attach that to the beginning of our future agendas. If somebody'd like to make that motion.
I'll make the motion.
No second, that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, got an eye over there from that side of the room too. So, yeah, thank you, Margaret, for that
Yeah.
obvious suggestion.
No, Margaret Stoll.
Stoldor, which we have, we'll get to this into the minutes, but we misspelled her name in the minutes here coming up. Stoldorf is, yes, DORF. All right, well, great. Well, John, do you mind if we move you up to your retirement comments? We kind of were talking, it's simpler back then or less, maybe not simpler, but you had less maybe.
It just, you're more involved, it takes more time. And I guess, I hope the teamwork continues. That's always been important. That everybody works together as a team. The employees, all the elected officials, everyone. And I just want to thank everybody that's supported me. I've enjoyed it, and I don't know where 16 years went. It went so fast. But I've enjoyed it. I got to meet a lot of different people from all over the state of Iowa, which I'll keep in touch with them. And I'm gonna miss some of those people. But I already told them I may show up some meetings, so I know when they meet, so.
Do you mind talking about some of the committees you served on and some of the offices you held in those committees? And put your microphone up here so we can all hear you, John.
Okay. I've been chairman of the landfill for many years. Bob Anderson used to be chair, then Jim Long was chair for a bit, and then I became chair. And that's quite a operation out there. I mean, we don't have many people, but you have a huge budget, and we don't use any tax dollars. It's all tipping fees that pays for the recycling and everything, and the sales, and it's all 11 cities in Page County. Really doesn't have anything to do with farming. I'm the only farmer on the board. One reason it helped, I only live about 3.5 miles from the landfill, so I could run down and sign checks easy for them. So that was pretty handy.
Make the meetings on time.
Yeah. I forgot about the last meeting. Alan went to the meeting and he called me, and I did make it towards the end, but I totally spaced it off. Senior moment, I guess.
So, did you hold an office with any of the other committees you served on?
I've served as vice chair on the Juvenile Detention Board in Council Bluffs. Lonnie Mayberry's chairman, and he has a surveying business. And a lot of times he might not be able to make it, so I chaired quite a few meetings at that when he was out of town and couldn't make it to the meeting. He'd usually call in, right, by Zoom. And so he was still there, but he couldn't run the meeting. So then on the Hungry Canyons, or on the RC&D board in Oakland, I was just a member. I live about the furthest away as anybody, so it wouldn't work for me to hold office, you know, for running in and signing papers. But then on the Hungry Canyons board, I've served on the executive board 16 years, I believe, and I've been on the scoring committee board for 16. So I've been pretty involved in that. And I've been to Washington, D.C., I think 3 times lobbying. And last time I went was the last time we got the $1.2 million earmark out of Washington. And
What were those dollars used for, do you recall?
for Weirs,
For Weirs, okay.
for the Hungry Canyon projects. Now all we get's about $450,000 from the state of Iowa, and just in the county dues. So our funds are dwindling fast. I think by the time we get done with the EWPs, we'll probably be getting close to out of money. Especially if Des Moines doesn't fund us, it'll be
done.
right over with. So that's why it's important we do these
Weirs
12
now.
weird projects, repairs.
Do you recall the look on JD's face when we said we wanted all 12 done?
Yeah. It's a good thing we did. Then I sit on the Les Hills Authority Board, meets once a year. That's oversees the Les Hills Alliance and the Hungry Canyons. It's an executive board, just kind of reviews everything. There's a lot of travel to it. And
Do you think, after going through COVID, do you think we'll see moving forward less travel? I mean, do you think this electronic is gonna keep the trips to Des Moines lower than they were when you started, maybe?
you know, I don't know. I've always enjoyed ISAC in Des Moines. We used to have it 3 times a year. I always went. I got a lot out of round table talk. It's kind of funny how supervisors all over the state of Iowa have about the same issues coming up at the same time. And it's a good place to go communicate with other supervisors. And
So you mentioned your trip to Washington. Do you have any memories from when the MHI was going on and the trips to Des Moines? Were you part of the lobby that went to Des Moines?
I worked with Chuck Palmer some and visited with him quite a bit. I do remember one time lobbying out in DC. Chuck Grassley's office was very hard to kind of talk to. They always warned me before we went there, or I said Grassley, right?
Yeah.
Tom Harkin. His office was difficult, and because he always wanted to know what our target was when the completion is on this Hungry Canyon project. He knew what they were, but he wanted to see an end to it. And one year when I went, John Thomas said, he asked me some questions, and he kept talking to me, and I think it was over the lake, and he was curious. He even walked us down to the hall, and John Thomas said, that's unheard of. He said that he's never shown that much interest, so I felt good about that.
And that was Harkin?
Yep.
Oh, we don't.
But it's quite a place out there.
So I guess a lot of people are wondering, what are you gonna do with all this free time?
Well, Pam and I are going to still reside north of town, about 8 miles. We got about 600 acres of row crop. We're going to continue to do that. We'll still be working a lot for the community. We've got some Kalen's down in Texas now, so it'd probably be warmer down there, so you might go visit him in the winter, so.
Well,
I'm gonna miss it, definitely.
well, it's been a part of your life. You haven't scheduled anything without figuring how meetings, fit into that schedule. So you're gonna feel pretty strange for a while, I'm guessing.
Yeah, about the furthest we've been is Branson. We could run down there for a long weekend. We've been there too many times, maybe. We enjoy it down there, but
So,
we'd like to go to different places. So,
good. Well, we've got, public on the line. If anybody'd like to chime in a greeting to John, I'd ask you to raise your hand if you'd like to do that, and pass on your well wishes to John and Pam in their retirement. Or anybody in the room. You've got elected officials here that have worked with you a long, long time that might want to stand at the podium and wish you well. We've got one coming here now.
Oh, my gosh. I'd like to thank John for his time. It's been a pleasure to work with him over the last 12 years and before that even. We haven't always agreed, but as he said earlier, we agreed to disagree and we made it through it. Of course, as sheriff, you think that you always want to stay on top of things in law enforcement. You want to try to do the best you can, provide the best protection for the citizens of your county and those coming and going from your county. And sometimes that doesn't always work at budget time, as you all know, and Jacob, you're soon to find out. We just do what we can with what we have and always look to the future. John's been great to work with that. He's seen some things that I didn't think he'd understand, but he shocked me at times, and he's understood exactly where we're going. Sometimes in law enforcement, you think a little bit different than what everybody else does, and I understand that you can't always do what we think needs done with what we have, because we have an entire county to budget, not just a law enforcement or auditor or treasurer, recorder, or county attorney. There's all kinds of aspects of that. But John has been great to work with. He's always understood stuff. Doesn't matter day or night. If I've got a question or he's got a question, he'll call me, and he's always been very respectful about everything. Hopefully that's both ways.
I remember back when you started campaigning the first time, we sat out on the patio and talked.
Yep.
And it worked.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. I'm pushing that, this is going to be the term that'll put me to 16. And as I said before, that's it. I understand where you're coming from when it gets to that point, but it's been a pleasure working with you, and I want to thank you for your service, Joe.
Yep. I think my ag background has helped me a lot. As you know, agriculture, you always have to adapt and go with the changes. And so I've had to deal with that all my life, and I think government's the same way. You gotta keep up, and you gotta adapt and go with the changes, so.
Roll and flow.
Yep.
Anybody else like to say anything on Chris?
I want to say thank you for all your help you've done with me, for getting me to learn a little bit more about the county and my position. I know you've sat in on a couple of my commission meetings, either the EMA Service Board or the EMA Commission. I appreciate all the help you've given me and all the answers to the questions I've had. I'd like to stay a little bit longer, but I have a National Weather Service briefing I need to go to, so I just wanted to say thank you and wish you well on what you're going on to next.
Understandable.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Alan, anything you'd like to say?
I just would like to say these 3.5 years that I've been on as a supervisor have been very enjoyable to work with you, John. I had never really ever got to know you. I'd met you a couple of times over the years, but you are much wiser and sharper than I would have ever guessed. And hopefully I've learned a little bit from you. I just thought you were just a farmer like I'd grown up, and you've got more knowledge in the county than I think I would ever be possible for me to learn. I just find it amazing what you remember, your guidance, your critique on things. But I think one of the things I enjoy the most is when we've had a disagreement, we always leave as friends. You know, I can remember times when you made a motion and then voted against it. And that was when I learned that it's not about what we individually think and just being against things. It means that we have to get it up there and discuss it. And that's what I think the first thing I learned from you is how you were so adapted doing that.
Well, I think it's important that when you're a 3-member board, that somebody can make a motion, and even if you're against the motion, I think it's important you second the motion so you can have the discussion. Then you can vote against it.
Yep.
But I mean, it just lets the meeting run proper.
And that's one of the things I learned early on from you. Some very good guidance. You know, once again, your knowledge, your ability to remember things and to have seen things is going to be sorely missed. I'm going to have to do a lot more research to find data myself now instead of just clicking on the John button to find out what happened when, because you are just very much a talent in the county. So thank you very much.
You got my cell number, so.
I know.
And I'll be.
Are you going to charge
you whenever? I feel kind of bad. We haven't got the county farm cleaned up like I tried to get done, but it's scheduled to be done, and I think that's important. It doesn't look very good now when you drive by.
But it will. I mean, it will. And,
But I mean, it's just gonna take a little time, but I think, you know, the contractor that's gonna clean it up lives by me, and I think he'll probably talk to me, and then I can remind him of what he was gonna do.
Sure. And there'll probably be another phase after he's done,
Yeah.
I'm guessing. So, well, we have some, let's see if these are messages to you, John. Andrew Hotman says, thank you for your service, John. If anybody else would like to chat in there, that chat box would work good. Or if anybody would like to step up, raise your hand, unmute yourself, and have anything that you'd like to pass along.
Nope.
Okay, yes, we have Judy Clark is there. Judy, let me see if we can unmute you. I'm gonna ask Corey. Corey, are you able to unmute Judy? Okay, so Judy, you're gonna have to unmute yourself down the bottom. There you go.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, John. I just want to thank you for all the years that you served. We had lots of interesting discussions over the years, some law cases, some lawsuits, I guess, and some other things, but you did a great job. You were always there for the information on all the farm things and all the other things that you put in. And I really appreciate working with you. And I hope you and Pam enjoy your retirement and travel and just have a great time. You'll love it.
Well, thank you. But I remember when it first come on, you said you were so proud you had the youngest board of supervisors around.
That changes a little bit over the years, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I enjoyed working with you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you haven't tuned into KMAland.com yet today, there's a wonderful story John Van Nostrand put together with some folks who worked with John over the years. And I haven't made it all the way through, but it's an intriguing story, John. Nice job. And John Herzberg, congratulations. That's quite a career. You are going to be sorely missed. And to what Alan said about experience, 5 years ago, this board had, 50 plus years experience. And now we're going to be under a dozen years experience when we turn the calendar on the new page. So being able to visit and use your history, because a lot of things happen in the county that over the years, just kind of migrate into a certain way, and then you get to a point where it's like, why do we do it that way? And without that background, it's very difficult sometimes to understand why you're at a point that you find yourself in.
Yeah, well, there's some things like funding for the library. A lot of people don't realize, the taxes to fund the library just come from the city, like Clarinda's library. You know, the people of Clarinda, and, that's why it's important the county contributes to it, because the rural people don't, and we use the library too. So you just gotta understand, you gotta kind of work through some of that.
Yeah, sometimes work backward to get to know
Right.
where you're at in the present moment.
I mean, to try to keep things fair. The county fair is very important. You only have one county fair in the county. When I first got on, they had just cut it back from, I think, 34,000 of local option tax dollars down to 17.5. They cut it in half. They had some tough years there financially, and so they've lived on half of what it used to be, but they're doing well. And, but I mean, some of those kind of programs are important.
You know, you touched on something I want your input about. As we get ready to budget, it'll be the first budget that you have been involved with in a decade and a half. Can you recall the toughest budget that you had to deal with, and what that was like when it meant either looking at services or people? Did you ever have to make those decisions, and what went through your mind?
Well, I think there was 1 or 2 years, wasn't it, Judy, that Jim and Elaine and I, we had to go with a 0% wage increase. And that's a very tough decision to do, because it comes out of the general basic fund, and if you don't have the dollars, you can't do it. And the employees feel like they're insulted, you know, when you can't give a wage increase. So we've always tried to do something, you know, and you never know. But I've been proud we haven't raised our general, our levies very much in 16 years. Basically, what we've operated off are the increased tax valuations and left the levies at the same rate. Then you'll get the increased revenue. And it's pretty complex how it all fits together, but after you do a budget, you'll kind of start understanding. And Melissa helps a lot. We estimate, re-estimate, and you have a notebook. I think there's what, 23 departments maybe? And it's pretty thick, each front and back page, and takes some time. But that way you get to understand how the department runs.
Another thing you might want to comment on, something I know has been a real source of pride to you and previous boards, and that has been the fact that financially, Page County is in excellent condition. Our reserves are strong. Our debt service is very, very low. And I know that's been a point of pride for you.
Yeah, compared to some counties, our debt service is very little. I mean, it's E911 now. That's our debt service. But I visited with some supervisors around the state. They borrow money to put rock on the roads. Well, their loan's going to be longer than the rock's going to last, and that's not a good situation to be in. So I feel everybody has been pretty conservative, and you don't want to hit that wall where you can't go through it, over it, or under it. So that's why you have to be conservative. And like I say, I've learned that through farming too. Some years you make money, some years not so much. So I tried to treat county government just like it was my own, and tried to represent everybody equally.
On that topic, real quick, and then we're gonna move on unless somebody else, but, your experience is so invaluable. You talk about a 3-member board, and I know there's Iowa counties that have 5-member boards. There's been some discussion in Page County, should it go to a 5-member? What's your opinion on that? I'm just kind of curious.
I guess I'd still rather stay with the 3-member board and pay each supervisor more money rather than reduce the salary. Because I think it's important the supervisor's salary stays up high enough. You get qualified people to want to run for the office and make good decisions. Otherwise, you're going to have people that just there for the dollars.
The other thing you said there that I thought struck a key is you feel like you tried to represent everybody to the best of your ability. And to me, that's the beauty of everybody in Page County votes on every supervisor. Some counties have them by district, which I'm not sure, I just like.
I think we have a good setup. We're elected at large and we have to each come from a district. Shenandoah, Clarendon, and the rural. And that's about 1/3 of the population of each in Page County, 5,000 each. And that way you keep your representation equaled out. And you don't get lopsided one side. Page County is pretty unique because you have a city of Shenandoah on one side and a city of Clarendon on one side. I think there's only one other county in Iowa that works that way. And it's hard to govern, to keep things fair. I know we have the county seat and that makes some hard feelings sometimes. They think more of it comes this way, but try to represent everybody at large and equally and the majority of the people and be open-minded. And some decisions you may only make half the people happy, and you can't make them all happy. But you got to look at the best interest in the whole county as a whole, not just a few people and for your own agenda.
Well, John, unless somebody else has something they'd like to add, yes.
All I'd like to say, John, thank you for your dedication to the county. Wish you the best, and you guys enjoy your time off. Thanks again.
We're going to, are we, Pam? We see a lot more of each other than we used to.
I hope that works out, sometimes it doesn't.
John, I just wanted to thank you as well for your years of service and for all your insight over the years. And those first years I started being patient, and we spent a lot of time on the phone and a lot of time in the boardroom going through stuff. And there were some days that I thought it was going to end not the best. And at the end, the board all came together and kind of decided a direction. So
yeah, I think we've had good teamwork. So, and that you got to have that. So, and communicate. So.
All right. Well, thank you. The better half of this Herdsburg Union, would you like to say anything to the public?
I'm just glad I did that.
Yeah, this is Pam, my wife. I think most of you know her. And this is my sister, Linda. She's from Maryville, and my mom, Shirley. She's here in Clarendon.
All right. So is there anything that we didn't know about John we should know as he leaves office?
Please. I was an average high school boy.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Pam.
What?
Right?
I didn't hear what you said.
Well, John, thank you.
Yeah.
And we will keep you on speed dial. Guarantee you.
I've enjoyed it.
Well, it's been a pleasure to work with you.
I'll be around, so. I'll keep track of you.
Well, you're not quite done. We got, is there any other public comment? If not, we're gonna move on to our, minutes and approval of minutes. Do I have a motion? I would like to, there is one amendment. Margaret Stoldorf's name is misspelled in the minutes. Stoldorf. If we can make that correction. Dorf, yes. Kind of hard to enunciate with these masks, isn't it?
Yeah. Stoldorf is a hard one to spell.
It is.
Yeah.
So if we make that correction, any other corrections? If not, could we have a motion to approve them, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Herzberg, second by Armstrong. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, John, you want to make the final motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, we are adjourned. John, thank you very, very much. And thank you for joining us online. And now